Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Love Lands. We're back again at Cura Rooms, just to talk about something different. So it's just me on my own today, and this week we're going to be talking about people pleasing. So I know there's like lots of stuff about people pleasing, but I thought I might go into it from a therapist point of view, and what kinds of things we see when someone comes into the room with people pleasing. So we're going to start with the signs. So we're going to play a little bit of a game. So it's, I don't know if you've played this before, but here we go anyway. We're going to try. I'll tell you the rules. The rules are you have all five fingers up. If you relate or agree to something, you put a finger down. So for example, one for me would be I am a black woman. I would put my finger down because I am a black woman. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So we'll start from now. Anyway, we'll start with the game now. Put a finger down if you find it hard to say no. Put a finger down if you feel bad, guilty, or mean for turning someone down. Put a finger down if people describe you as agreeable, nice, or helpful. Put a finger down if you never have free time because you're always looking after others or your time is allocated to other people. And lastly, put a finger down if you avoid conflict by just agreeing with people and what they're saying. If you put 3 or more fingers down, you're more than likely a people pleaser. And as you can see, I'm also one. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I call myself a recovering people pleaser because I'm still learning how to get out of those habits and those habits and those traits. I think people pleasing tends to come from a place of I want other people to like me, and I get my validation from people liking me and knowing that I'm on their side. For me, I tend to put a lot of my own needs secondary to other people's because I feel like if I can please that person, then at least I'll be in their good books and I can maintain a relationship with them. And I think that's a really bad misconception about relationships in the first place. I think if you are in a valid and healthy relationship, whoever you show up as, the person would accept. And I think sometimes we get lost in that. We get lost in trying to please people so that they can accept us. But really, who you are should be accepted by those people. You're not going to be accepted by everyone. And I think that's one thing people pleasers need to understand, because the more you try and mold and chameleon into someone for someone else, the more you realize you sway more away from your authentic self, like we were talking about when we met up with Elliot. I think it's so easy for you to do when you just want people to like you and appreciate you. And we tend to do this, pick this habit up mostly in like when we're in school, because we want to be either part of the popular group or we want to be seen a certain way or appreciated a certain way. So we see ourselves going into groups, because I had a friend in school who ended up becoming an emo at the time. Even though she didn't really have that spirit, she didn't really enjoy that spirit, but because she wanted to be accepted by people, she ended up becoming an emo. For myself, there's been cases where I've gone to events that I don't really appreciate or enjoy, just because I wanted my friends to feel like I'm with them and I'm backing them, even though it's not my kind of vibe. Like, you won't catch me like going clubbing and stuff, because I'm just not like that kind of person. I tend to like to stay at home, watch movies, chill, go for dinner if we're going out. But like clubbing and like going out for late nights, those were just not my thing. But I went to a lot of clubs when I was younger just so that I could fit in with friends. But as you grow older, you start to develop who you are as a person. And those phases are fine if they're just phases. But if you carry that into your work life, your love life, and all those things, you start to mold yourself into someone you're not and continue to stray away from who you are. So the person that you're trying to maintain a relationship with or a friendship with doesn't get to really see the real you. They just see who you want them to see and present as, which does not help the situation, because there's no way you can maintain that for a long period of time without burning yourself out or start to lose motivation on things that you actually want to do because you're so consumed by what other people want to do, that you move away from it. You move away from who you are, which can lead to anxiety, depression, frustrations, codependencies. Like all these things start to build a root if it becomes a pattern, and a healthy pattern. Yes, you can be nice to people and you can appreciate people, but I think when you have a sense of who you are, those things, and you're doing things rooted out of who you are rather than who you want people to like, those things will just come naturally to you and you feel a lot more comfortable in yourself. You don't feel as anxious. If you don't like something and you're in a place where you don't like those things, there's an increased heightened emotion because you are exposing yourself to something you don't like. Your body will definitely react to those things because it's like, okay, there's this, we know we don't like this, but we're in this space, so why are we here? And then your body starts to become hypervigilant, starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable in the space, which can cause the other things. So I think the more we look into who we are as a person, we can just find those things. And it's really hard in the beginning. It's really hard to say no to someone you love and adore just because you don't feel like doing something. And I'm saying this with a heavy heart because I know the same thing has happened to me, where I find it so hard to just say I can't do that or I don't want to do that. So when I was younger, a lot of the times I'd say maybe, I'll see how I can, like I see if I can do that. In the end, my friends knew if I said maybe, that means no. But a lot of the times if it's a no, you can say no, and no can be a full sentence. It doesn't have to be explained, but the part of you who is the people pleaser would want to explain it, and sometimes you don't have an explanation. So I'd say if you are in those kinds of positions, maybe giving yourself the space to explore how you can say no without feeling the guilt or the shame. And sometimes it could just take practice and starting small. So it could be something like maybe you don't enjoy eating peas, so you just ask that peas are not added to your meal. Like when you go for a takeaway and they have the peas in it, you can be like, oh, can you just omit the peas? That's you doing something that is sticking true to who you are. That's something small, but it's building on the small things to help you understand that you do have a voice. You can have conversations without it being leading into conflict by you just standing up for what you need. And sometimes you need things to be quite accessible and easy to say, but if you can't say those things in those times, maybe just say, oh, could you give me time to think about it, and delay the response so that you can have a organic way or an easier way for you to say no. That makes it easier for you. I think sometimes we overcomplicate it by not giving ourselves the space to have those conversations, and just exploring with where we sit with things. It can be hard. It can be really hard to just have those conversations with people that you feel you need to belong. And 100%, which is like, it's human nature for you to want to belong, and it's okay for you to want to belong. I think you just need to accept that you are who you are, and the person that you are brings value to the community that you're in. One thing I would say is there's lots of other things that you can explore with, and a lot of the times these people-pleasing habits and tendencies tend to come from a place of childhood trauma and childhood ideas that have been, and beliefs that you've gone through. Me being a Christian, I found it really hard to say no, because I used to always believe that I have to sacrifice myself in order for people to feel loved and appreciated. And the more I read the Bible, the more I realized, oh, actually, I can only love someone as much as I love myself. And if I keep giving a part of myself up in order to please people, that's not me loving on them. So I need to love myself so that I can give them back that love. So it is a whirlwind of things to go through. But I think when you're working with someone or talking to someone who can understand you and help you process those things, it gets to a place where you understand where these tendencies are coming from. And when you understand where they're coming from, you can use the understanding to kind of pivot where you would like to be and where your future would like to be. I think sometimes we get stuck in knowing, okay, I'm a people pleaser, but I haven't healed the wounds that I have to stop that from happening. So I continue to stay in the people pleasing realm because it's easier for me. But the more we learn and I'll get more awareness of how these things have crept into our lives, we can start to understand and assess situations to see, am I people pleasing in this situation? Am I just being nice in this situation? What exactly is my motive behind doing what I'm doing? And I think the more we understand the motive, the more we can assess if we want to do it or if we don't want to do it. And both are not, neither one is right or wrong. It's just accepting how you feel in that moment about those things. So people pleasing is something I love to work with my clients on, because I think a lot of the times these are rooted from somewhere, and I want to help heal those wounds and establish self-love within those wounds so that we can move forward and be able to establish freedom. Because I think people pleasing tends to put us in a box, which imprisons us from being who we are rather than who we are called to be. So I think the more we understand those things, the more we can move into those areas and allow ourselves to be the best person we could be. So if you're willing and happy and see traits in yourself where you feel you are becoming more reliant on people's validation for your self-esteem, I'm always here. And as I said, I'm in Cura rooms on Fridays, and I have some free slots. So if you would love to work with me, I'm always here. Just pop a comment in the box or send me a DM on Instagram or anything. However you can get in touch with me, I'm happy and willing to help you on this journey on becoming a recovered people pleaser, just like I am. So understanding where we're going with this together, knowing that you have someone in your corner who has also been through those things, will help you to understand, okay, maybe it's best for me to work with someone who has experienced the same things and would like to move forward and into a healthier place of relationships with people. Then drop me a note and we can work together and see how that best fits for you. So on that note, that's the end of this episode, guys, and I would love to hear from you. So like, comment, subscribe, and we can go from there. If you have any stories about people pleasing, put in the comments so that people can have a discussion and talk about it and be open about how we perceive and experience people pleasing in our own lives. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Take care and goodbye.